They say men should open up more, tell people how we feel, tell people what's wrong. But when we do, nothing changes. We don't get any more support. We don't get a better understanding. No, we just get awkward looks, silence, no change. So eventually we stop trying. We stopped sharing a long time ago. Now, like I say in all my videos, I'm not an expert. I'm just a guy with something on his mind. And today, what's on my mind is why so many men stay silent about depression. The stereotype says men don't talk about our problems because we want to appear tough and strong. Most of us have tried. We opened up in the past, maybe once, maybe twice, shared how we really felt with somebody close. And all we got back was either jokes, indifference, or worse, we had it twisted and thrown back in our faces later on. So we've learned silence is safer. According to the CDC, 1 in 10 men in the United States suffers from depression or anxiety, but 50% of those men will never seek help. Not because they're afraid of emotions, because they've been trained by experience to think no one's going to care anyways. The image versus the reality. Social media loves to promote emotionally available men. But in real life, when men admit they're struggling, most people pull away. They don't embrace. You go from being the stable one, the rock in the relationship, to suddenly you're too much. You're a burden. And that's why guys shut down. It's not out of pride, but out of self-preservation. Meanwhile, men are 3.5 times more likely to die by suicide than women. And one of the biggest reasons is silence, not weakness, just isolation. All right, so now I want to give a couple examples of the difference between what social media says that they want to see from men and then how it plays out in reality. I've already talked about how social media is pushing and promoting emotional men and the power of sharing our problems with the world, right? Acting like they care. Well, this is reality. New York Post wrote an article, and the headline says, "Man keeping is ruining dating for women who are tired of relationship burnout. Quote, I'm not your therapist." End quote. So that's how it plays out in real life. Because let's face it, in most relationships, we are the problem solvers. We are the rock. We come home from work, we walk through the door, we take stock of the problems that we need to solve, right? Maybe it's a leaky faucet, trash needs to be taken out, whatever. There's a list, right? So say there's 2 problems. You attack those problems, you check them off, solved, right? Now you're at 0 problems. Your wife asks you how your day was. Well, frankly, your day was shit. You're stressed that you might get fired. Big bills are coming up and you know that it's going to be very difficult to pay them, etc. Whatever your list is, right? Your problems. If you share your problems with your spouse, the household is no longer at 0 problems. It went up by however many problems you shared. And since we're the problem solvers, who is going to solve our problems? No one. So there's no point in sharing it because it's always a negative effect. It's just easier for men to solve the problems of the household and keep our problems hidden so that the house can operate for a short period of time on 0 problems and feel like everything is fine. But when you pull back the curtain behind us, 9 times out of 10, it's not fine. And we have our own list of problems that we need somebody to help us with, but there's no one to help. You know money's tight and you're not going to be able to make the mortgage this month. So what do? You work more hours. But now you're gone more. So your wife is unhappy because you're gone more. It's a lose-lose situation. You either don't pay the mortgage and you're not a provider, or you spend too much time providing and you're gone too much. Those, unfortunately, are the problems that men face every day. It's that difficulty where you know if you express your problems, it's not going to help anything. You have no one to talk to. And I'll give you a little real life situation that happened to me once with an ex-girlfriend. We had been dating for a while, and every time she would say, "How's your day?" I would just say, "It was good." And one day she called me out on it. She said, "How come you never really tell me how your day is? I feel like you never tell me anything. When I ask you how your day is, you say good, and then that's it." And I said, "Well, I don't really want to burden you with my problems." And she gave me the whole, "I'm here for you," type of thing. And I said, "Okay." But being as old as I am, I should have known better, but I know that that's not really true, right? They don't really want to hear it. So anyways, weeks go by and I was stressed about something. At the time, I was transitioning from a full-time career to my self-employed business being full-time, right? And so I knew in the moment, a short period of time, I was going to take a little bit of a hit on money, just simply because I needed to build the business back up, etc. Doesn't matter, right? The point is, the bills were still getting paid. There's no problems or anything like that. And she asked me how I was doing. How was your day? And I said, well, I'm actually feeling a little stressed. Like I have this transition from my old career to working full time for myself. And I think at the time, like taxes were due and insurance was due. And I just basically said, like, I have quite a few like large bills coming in and it's stressing me out a little bit. That's it. That's all I said. Right. Okay. A couple more weeks go by. Never missed any payments. There wasn't any struggle for finances because there wasn't. I was just stressed about that. I knew I had them covered. It's just I didn't like seeing that much money go out of my bank account. So it's stressing me out a little bit. And she gets in a fight with me and basically accuses me of being irresponsible and leaving my old career to basically chase my dream and do my own thing. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I have money in the bank account. And I showed her, see, I'm good. We're good. I was just sharing with you what was stressing me out. And this is why I don't share those things. Because you've taken it, turned it into something stressful for you, and flipped it around and shot it back in my face as a weapon, making me feel bad now about changing my careers and chasing my dreams. So yeah, that was the last time I shared anything with her. And I'm sure a lot of men have those types of stories out there. You need to tell me more, open up more, share your problems, tell me what's going on. All right, well, I'm feeling a little stressed. We're all gonna die. When talking doesn't help, you start numbing instead. Drinking more, zoning out, avoiding people, overworking. It becomes easier than getting hurt again. It becomes way easier to numb yourself down than to open up and have somebody stab you with a knife. That numbness becomes our armor, and it's heavy. But that doesn't make the pain disappear. It just hides it deeper, and it eats away at you from the inside slowly. This isn't a personality flaw with men. It's learned behavior. You adapt to the world around you, even if it's slowly killing you. Therapy is the way to talk about your problems without adding your problems to their list. Here's the truth. Most men don't stay silent because we don't feel anything. We stay silent because we don't want to dump our problems onto people that already have their own. That's why therapy matters. Not because it magically fixes anything, or because you need somebody to look at you under a magnifying glass to tell you what's wrong with you. No, it's a place every week, every month, sit down for 40 minutes, sit down for an hour, vent your problems to somebody who's not going to be burdened by them. Like we were talking about earlier, we're problem solvers. So if we solve the problems and then add our own on top of it, we're walking around with a bunch of problems that don't get solved, and no one likes that. So when you sit down and you talk to somebody, you can be very open. You can be very blunt. Here's my issues. Here's my problems. And they will listen without flipping it around and putting it back in your face later in an argument or adding stress to their lives. It's their job to listen to you. And sometimes some of the stuff that we think or we feel is just a little difficult to tell somebody that we love or that are our friends. It gets dark sometimes in here. And to put that out into the world, you can't take it back afterwards sometimes. So think of a therapist as a third party, a neutral observer that you can just be like, this is what's going on, without fear of wrecking a relationship or coming across as weak or giving somebody ammo or, you know, opening up your armor just to get stabbed later on or have it used against you in a divorce court later on, etc. So I want you to think about therapy not as a weakness, just an outlet, a vent, a way to blow off steam. And clearly more men are starting to get that. So final message. Maybe you don't want to talk because you think it won't fix anything. You're right. It won't fix everything. but it might stop you from going numb, from checking out, from dying in silence. You don't need every single person in the world to understand you and agree with you. You just need to care enough about yourself to speak up, to say your truth. So talk, not because they'll listen, but because you're worth being heard, even if it's just by one person. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Seth. If you got something out of this video, please like and drop a comment. I want to hear from you. So tell me, do you have a personal story about where you shared something and someone spun it around and used it against you later? I want to hear it. Drop it in the comments. And after that, check out one of these videos over here because I'm sure they're right up your alley. Thank you very much. Appreciate you.